Hello, friends! How often do you look at yourself in the mirror in the morning looking for imperfections that don't exist? Or are you dissatisfied with your appearance when there is simply no particular reason to worry? People tend to follow a non-existent ideal, constantly devaluing what they have. Although there are many cases in the world, the most incredible and sometimes sad genetic mistakes of nature, which not only ruin entire lives, but deprive people of the chance to fix something. And such stories are the ones that teach us to fully accept ourselves, not to make unnecessary indulgences, and to continue living a normal life despite our appearance. Anita Samhaja Raut, from a small village near Pune city, central India, never thought she would become the mother of werewolf children. Anita was forced to get married very early when she was still in school, and until her wedding day, the girl had never seen her husband, and of course did not know that he suffered from a rare disease. According to the woman, her child was very difficult. Her aunt and uncle, who did not want to raise the child after the death of her parents, treated her very poorly, and later they married her off to that man. Anita had no choice. She was obliged to live with this man, and soon she gave birth to 6 children, 3 of whom the local press later dubbed sister werewolves. The fact is that 23-year-old Savita, 18-year-old Manisha, and 16-year-old Savitri had inherited a rare disease from their father called hypertrichosis. A person suffering from this disease is characterized by excessive thick hair on almost the entire body. According to their mother, the girls had an excessive amount of hair from birth, which only increased with each passing year. At this point, the girls' faces are almost completely covered with thick black hair. Their eyebrows could rival those of Brezhnev, and such beards as those of the girls only grow on a few males. But even in spite of their frightening features, the sisters have the hobbies of the most ordinary teenagers. For example, they love to sing and cook, and of course wear beautiful clothes. However, as you might guess, at school the girls face all sorts of insults. They hear comparisons with animals, monkeys, and it really affects their mental state. What can I say? In India there is a different mentality. People are too religious, and if a person looks atypical, no one wants to communicate with this person, and it forces the girls to hide at home. That's what the Raut sisters have been used to since they were children. Of course, their mother understood that it can't go on like this, because she wanted a normal life for her daughters, and Anita began to look for ways to solve this problem. But as it turned out, medicine was powerless in this case, and if you turn to not cheap ways of cosmetology, then sooner or later it will lead to the fact that the hair will grow even more. The story of the werewolf girls spread around the world in a matter of days. After the first journalists came to them a few years ago and took a series of photos, which later spread around the world. Many people after that posted a lot of crap and broke the photo into memes. But no matter how it was, the sisters are trying not to pay attention to all of this and continue to live their lives. What's more, you will be very surprised, but the older sister Savita recently even got married. The introduction took her a long time, and she didn't leave the house, and according to the old Indian tradition, which is still relevant today, she saw her husband only at the altar. Perhaps one should have expected the worst, but the husband accepted his bride's affliction, and they began to live like an ordinary family. The only exception was that the girl had a very unusual appearance. But as the man later stated, he was collecting money for laser hair removal, which cost several $1,000s. What's interesting, not all of the Raut sisters suffer from werewolf disease. By some strange coincidence, girls with the disease were born to Anita 2 after 2, one with hypertrichosis, the other 2 daughters without. Anita, with the help of a social worker, contacted German and American doctors, but treatment required genetic testing through Singapore, and the family could not afford it. When the family received an invitation to participate in a TV program on Russian television, they jumped at the chance to learn more about their disease. Just as in their home country, they were met with frightened and shocked people's eyes as they traveled. Even customs control took the Raut family several times longer than other passengers. The result of the trip was a comprehensive checkup that showed abnormalities, but they were not fatal. The other good news was that the sisters' future children were unlikely to be exposed to a similar disease. This allows the girls to think seriously about starting their own families. Now imagine how happy Anita and the girls were when Russian doctors agreed to do their first photoepilation session. Of course, this is not a radical solution to the problem. 6 or 7 more such sessions are necessary, which cost quite a lot. The procedure was not easy. After all, the dark color of the skin is always a problem for hair removal. The hair removal felt painless. The sisters were a tremendous help to each other during the procedure, and the doctors who observed the process confirmed that the strength of this family is true mutual support. With funding from sponsors, the girls will be able to have the rest of their epilation sessions in their home country, and that is very realistic after such high-profile coverage of the werewolf sisters' story around the world. Moreover, the world is not without good men. An Indian filmmaker named Shi Gupta has announced his intention to make a documentary about the sisters' difficult fate in order to raise public awareness of their difficult issue, and also to help them raise the necessary money for the precious course of laser procedures and to find themselves decent husbands. Overall, the story of the sisters is still going on, but the good news is that there are still people who are willing to support those in need and lend a helping hand. Friends, have you seen something like this? Be sure to write your comments below the video. Well, that's all for today. See you soon!